Hello, lovely humans. This is Riki from Rikilikemagic, and Shibi says hi. My gorgeous, lovely humans, how are we? How are we today? I am not feeling well, so if my energy is a little bit different today, that is because I'm trying to conserve it. But I also really wanted to film this video because I was so excited by your comments. So I was like, okay, how do I film and not die in the process? So we're gonna keep it chill, but I could get really passionate actually. Then I'll have to lie down after this because I'm really excited to talk about your comments today and the road they took, because they were class. I loved reading them. I mean, I love reading them every time, but this video I have something specific I want to talk about based off of the comments that you brought up, and it's maybe a little bit more opinionated than I usually am. I am quite opinionated, but this is quite opinionated, and I'm excited to get into it with you because you guys really gave a lot of food for thought, so thank you for that. So we begin with general comments. Usually in these videos I will be reading your comments from my Loona breakdown of Cherry Bomb, originally danced by NCT 127. If you haven't seen that, go watch it here and then come back. Yeah, so generally the comments we talk about, a lot of repeated comments. That's what I mean by general. People said the same thing a lot, so then I talk about that. Then I spotlight, and also if any particular argument comes up, I acknowledge that and we talk about that here. If I'm making no sense in this video, I sincerely apologize. Hopefully this will turn out okay. First, our most general comments were several. First was about the hair, which I thought was hilarious that so many people spoke about the hair. I thought it was really interesting how, because I said, oh, I hate when hair is in my face when I dance. A couple of you went, oh, I didn't even notice that the hair adds to the choreography until I said something about the hair. Some people were like commenting about the hair, that they've heard that others think they should pull them back out of their face, but they like how the hair adds to the choreography and all this stuff. I just thought it was so fascinating how many people commented on the hair, because I wouldn't have necessarily thought hair was so important. So the hair was a big feature in your comments, which I thought was really interesting. Next regular repeated comment was telling me why the edits happened, and sincerely thank you for telling me why there were edits in this cover. Now fair enough, they had to edit it anyway because they made the longer song shorter for their cover. However, because I don't know the band very well, you guys told me that they edited to include more people because not everyone was there on the same day or learning the whole dance, and they were adding more and more people. I didn't even notice that by the last edit they were all in the room, so thank you for that. That made a lot of sense to me then, and almost kind of made me more impressed that it's like they're not editing it because they find the choreography difficult and they need breaks or anything, but that they're editing it purely for practical reasons, that they want more people. And I mean, who doesn't want that amount of people doing the walkout splitty step thing? All of the S's. Thank you for that. And then loads of people were celebrating with me my favorite, who I will learn her name. If I know anyone's name in Loona now, it will be my favorite's name, Heejin. And thank you for celebrating her alongside me. It was really interesting hearing a little bit about her. I think you guys told me that she's the center and she finds boy choreos preferable. Now this is actually what this video is going to be talking about, is boy choreo versus girl choreos. She's a very strong dancer and you can tell that she likes that kind of vibe in choreos as well, and even that in a couple of interviews she's been known to say that she's trying to get the message out there that girls can do any kind of choreo that they want to. So thank you for that. And then finally, Choerry, pink-haired lady. I fully heard people when they told me that I didn't give her props for that move when she comes up to standing. she does kind of this flip thing, and I think it's these arms at the very last second she hits the beat. Lads, when I was editing that, I saw it only when I was editing it, not when I was watching it in my breakdown. And when I was editing that video, I was like, why didn't I talk about that? I was too busy thinking about the next move. I had already jumped into the future. So thank you for giving her props, and I will give her props right now. That move, I loved that. She hit that so beautifully, and it was really impressive and fast and quick and sharp, and you completely caught me on that I missed that. And this is why circle time is so amazing, is because we can fill the picture out together. So now, my lovely humans, there was a general vibe that I've put into a compartment that we're talking about Loona as female dancers in terms of, it's kind of hard to contextualize, in terms of that they are so good, they clearly show that female dancers can do what the boys do in K-pop. And so I wanted to kind of read these particular comments, and then throughout I will weave my own quite passionate opinion about this, because I really liked your comments and I totally agree with them, and I will probably get more angry than you guys did in the comments. I won't start on my rant yet. I will move on to my next chosen comment. Next comment is from Sarah. Hello Sarah, welcome back. Thank you for your comment. And Sarah just very succinctly put something down that I just really loved, and they said, when I first saw this cover, and in my approximation 1 million rewatches since, it made me a little indignant that girl groups just aren't given this style of choreography for their own songs. Clearly the women can handle the choreo, you know? How beautifully, briefly, succinctly put. Yes, this is it. This is the thing. I remember when I first started watching BTS, saw how they danced and just completely lost my mind. And then I was like, there's this K-pop thing where they dance really well. I'm so excited to like delve into other groups. Particularly, I was excited to see that if this is how the men dance, I remember having this thought, if this is how the men dance, I cannot wait to see how the women dance, because I knew that there were girl K-pop groups. And then I was sorely disappointed. Now, I'm not saying that I don't know enough about the culture and about the industry, so I am not saying that there aren't wonderful girl group dances out there. I've been shown a few, and I've been shown particularly, I forget her name, an individual idol, so not a group, who danced so well, but I forget her name. And even like FX, I think, had some cool, less hyper feminine dances. But I never got enthralled the same way I did by BTS. And personally, and this whole video is extremely personal as well. It's extremely biased and extremely subjective, based off of what I like to dance, what I like to see in dance. But essentially, women can handle the same choreo as men. We inherently look different, or as I explained, based off of watching Loona do NCT's dancing, we inherently look different, but we can do the same. I want to see this, basically, and thank you for talking about it in the comments, because I am so sick of seeing the same thing, just like the same thing. But I know that same thing sells, which is why they keep going down the route. If the same thing didn't sell, then people wouldn't do it. You know, they would do the thing that sells. I suppose it's like, it's an economic thing versus a moral thing, or it's not even ethical, it's just more well-rounded or something. Do you know? Let me know your thoughts as well in the comments as I ramble about this stuff, because I'm finally going to move on to this, my favorite comment about this whole subject, and it's actually by a first-time commenter called Aydan N. Hello Aydan N, thank you so much for your comment. And you say that you're nervous in this comment, and you should not be nervous, because what you said just lit up my life, and I'm so happy that you went out and said it. So thank you so much for this comment. They say, this is the first time I commented on your video, so I feel a bit nervous. No need. I am not familiar with Loona, and I knew them through this dance cover since I knew about NCT. I've seen a lot of comments saying this dance is not girls' type of dancing, but they did great. I don't know if it's just my pride, but that kind of comment really bothers me a lot. I think both groups did great, and I, as a non-dancer, enjoyed both performances a lot. For me, the choreography is gender neutral, but the way both groups delivered it was different. I also prefer the cover, but have no words as to why. I just did. Your explanation helped me a lot to understand what I like from this cover. Thank you for the video, I really enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you. Like, beautifully put. Exactly. This is the pinnacle of This is the pinnacle of my point, and you guys helped me get there. There is no girls' choreo and boys' choreo. Is there? Is it boys' choreo when they grab the crotch? Because women, on the whole, don't have crotches. Like we do. But we don't have that part. Wow, let's keep this nice and PG. Watching Loona, yeah, we'll bring it back to Loona. Watching Loona doing that choreography, and then I've watched NCT do that choreography. It's just different, as Aydan N says. It is just different. Because you could be female and then have more of a masculine way of moving, whatever that means. And that would give something inherently different to the choreography. Versus NCT, who was encouraged to be more aggressive and sharp and intense with the movement. Why do certain factors make this boy choreo and why is this girl choreo? I would say that right now in the times that we live in, it feels more acceptable for women to do guys choreo and be taken seriously for it than if guys did girls choreography. They would rarely do a full dance cover of it, and if they did, I've seen a lot of it as just a joke. It would just be considered a joke, like a jokey time, a fun time that the guys are doing. Now please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm totally open to hearing like that's absolutely not the way it is. Why are we putting it into these categories? That makes me really annoyed, particularly from my own experience of living in this body and being a dancer as a woman. I have never been that attracted to the hyper feminine way of moving and like the body rolls and the sexiness and arch your back and stick out your bum. And while I have made a lot of heels dances, if you guys have seen them, I always try and make it so that I'm comfortable in the sexiness that I feel. And sometimes it isn't about being inherently sexy all the time. It's just about discovering this new part of yourself. And so I believe that every human should just be allowed to do that, is discover different sides of themselves through movement. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But I have always been like, I've always loved more masculine way of moving, but it's never felt like I'm being a boy. It's never felt like I'm being more masculine. I've just really enjoyed that way of moving because my body enjoys moving that way. So what's wrong with that? And why is it called like, oh, you'll do the lads choreo? It's bizarre to me. There's all these weird social barriers up there. And I'm looking at Loona and NCT. Both of you are insanely cool. And both of you have a right to this movement, to learn this movement, because it's just movement. And then it's so much fun to like figure out how you would do that kind of movement. Am I making any sense? I hope I am. And if I've said anything deeply controversial or strange or unclear, please let me know in the comments. But I really appreciate that you guys talked about this, because then it gives me a place to voice some not quite articulated thoughts. But I know that I feel very strongly about this because my whole career has been at first almost fighting being so feminine in dance, because I can actually do that very well. I remember several teachers being really surprised when they saw me do girly choreography or feminine choreography, and they really didn't think that I could move that way because of the way that I'd always trained myself to move, which was more masculine. And then when I did the more feminine stuff, they were like, oh, you're so good at that. I didn't think you'd be so good at that because you're quite the kind of boyish tomboy when you're moving. And then I was like, no, I can do it. I just don't want to because I think it's boring. Personally, I think it's boring because I think it's not as textured and not as rich of an experience, because I think the same moves are repeated a lot. This is my opinion. This is my subjective personal opinion based off of movement that I watch all the time, and I just have very little interest in, unless I can find new things and new perspectives on it. Does that make sense? So, Aydan N, unreal. You're dead right. Thank you for sharing. And what is girl choreo and what is boy choreo? Why can't it just be movement? Why should it stop your experience when it's not hurting anybody to go and do the thing and dance the way you want? So I would like to see that in K-pop one day. I'd love to see more girl groups doing masculine, not even, just moving in different ways. Why is that not happening? Because it sells, I know, but these are my thoughts and opinions. Okay, thanks for listening. And then moving on to a spotlight, part where I'm going to just highlight kind of random comments from the Loona video. However, they're not so random. I thought they were brilliant and I really enjoyed them. And while it's not kind of gender related, I suppose, I think it's quite like, I love the differing opinions in them. So that's where we are. We are going to start with Aimee. Hello, Aimee. Aimee and your academic papers. I see you. Thank you again for an academic paper. Deeply appreciated. I'm now going to show the part that I'm going to talk about, but you guys give it a read because it's really cool. I'm just going to pull up the part where you talked about all of your different favorite parts of the choreo because I thought it was really interesting. They say the dance break at 2044 is actually my favorite of the entire choreo, and it has some really cool moves, like the part at 2051 is where they're playing billiards, or the part that comes right after it, the chopping motion that you said. They're actually dealing cards, and I'm pretty sure there are other references too. It looks like they're saying something like we're aces at the game no matter which one it is, and it's so cool. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't cover the whole thing because there are some stellar parts that I would have liked to see their version of. Like around 2 minutes into the song, they do a kind of pinwheel formation, and right before that, when they sing if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands yo, they do what the fans have infamously dubbed the Pennywise dance. This choreo has such an interesting mix of really cool suave moves and then some really weird and funny ones too, like the little goblin dance, as you so hilariously put it. It always puts me in such a mood. I love it so much. Thank you, Aimee. So yeah, I actually didn't even know it was a billiards, why can't I say that word? Billiards thing until you said it, and then I watched the choreo again. I was like, that's what they're doing. And then they're dealing cards as well, which I really like. So thank you for pointing that out because I wouldn't have got that reference. And then I pull up this comment because I actually edited out me talking about that section in the NCT dance. If you guys haven't seen the original, they do this kind of hoppy from side to side thing, and I love that this is called a Pennywise move, and I talked about it for a very brief moment, but I edited it out because it doesn't flow well with what I was discussing about Loona in particular. It was just some random like, oh, I really like that move in the NCT one, which is this move. And so I thank you for bringing it up because it did appear in my original cut of the breakdown, but it just didn't make the cut, you know? Thank you for that comment, Aimee. Next we have Air with 2 eyes. Air. Thank you, Air, for your comment. And this is going to actually start different comments people made about whether they preferred Loona's version versus NCT's version. And I really like this very much. I like almost the courage that you have to be like, actually, I don't prefer this version, I prefer the original, because saying that in the comment section of a YouTube video is hard sometimes. So we're going to celebrate you here today, and beginning with Air, you say, it really does have its own personality. You know, it's the same dance, but the tiny minute differences in movements gives it its own flair. And I think almost all, if not all, those differences were deliberate because all of them do it that different way specifically. I personally also like it over the original NCT 127 version because of the natural femininity in opposition to all the sharp hits and angles of the dance. The contrast between the soft and hard tension and relaxation is extremely pleasing to watch. A prime example for this is near the beginning when the purple-haired member Choerry takes center, and the part after that too. A reason for the cut right before the cool down part with your favorite Heejin in the center is that actually they add the remaining members to the formation as well if you look closely. So they're letting me know about the edits as well. Thank you, Air. So this would be very close to my own opinion of the dance. I would really agree that that's why I prefer it to the original as well, is because I find that there's this much clearer difference between the sharp and the relaxed movements based off of the bodies that are dancing it. And I find that so fascinating about being human anyway, is that literally just you existing gives movement a different flair. How powerful is that? That you just have to exist fully and you can then add something to this world, you know? So thank you for that. There's not really much to say because I agree. So thank you for the beautifully worded comment. Air. Actually, I'm going to go back to Aimee. In another part of the comment, they said, that being said, and this is me being biased because NCT is one of my favorite groups and also because I've watched the original more times than necessary, but I like the original version more. I think it's because that one has more sharp, angular and really aggressive arm movements, and that's what defines the choreo for me now. But this one is naturally much softer because of the way the girls are built and trained. This is not to say this isn't a phenomenal cover, which it totally is, and I think I appreciate it a lot more now that I've gained your insight into it. Thanks. No, but I hear you. Like, especially you're an NCT fan, and then that's one of the first videos you saw, obviously, of this dance because it's the original. So there's something that's ingrained in your brain of like, this is how this song should be danced to, and it's with this way. I totally get that. Being able to just be like, yeah, no, I prefer the original version more, and yet I also enjoy this cover. I think that's so healthy. That's just a normal way to live one's life, you know, and to discuss it openly like that, I sincerely appreciate, because I think we live in such a black and white world, and it's very tempting to live in that black and white world, but I'm a profound believer in living in the grey and letting two truths exist at once, letting two things that are right, that can happen, you know, or 40 things that are right and true and make sense if you look at it this way can happen. And it's very stressful living in the grey area, but the grey area is where connections are made. Ostracizing doesn't happen as much because we're just like, yeah, cool, okay, I respect your opinion. So like, thank you for this, Aimee. And we're actually going to move on to Nassim as well. Hi Nassim, good to have your comment again. Nassim Tana, you have to let me know how to pronounce that, and another lover of the original NCT version. So they say, so ... Looking at the comment section, this is an absolute unpopular opinion here, but I am biased the other way around, and I am well aware of my bias. Cherry Bomb is an oldish song. I know that song and the choreo since a couple of years, and I fell in love with it immediately as it came out and watched it countless times. As much as I love Loona's rendition of this cover, believe me, I do. I am used to seeing it in that other original version, so I know I just cannot judge anyone else doing that choreo fairly. It's just that this is the choreo which made me fall in love with NCT choreos in general and has a special place in my heart, so I look for that aggressive energy when I watch it. So in the end, I prefer the NCT version. And you are welcome to, Nassim. Class, this is so great. To write an unpopular opinion, that it was an unpopular opinion in that comment section. That's kind of weirdly difficult, like strangely challenging, to be like, I'm the one person or maybe the one out of two people who don't agree. It's hard to disagree with the majority, and yet it's not a big deal. And I can totally see why the more aggressive, sharp, angular, intense, like in your face way of dancing that dance can be preferable, and more power to you. Like, I don't know, I just want to kind of spotlight exactly these comments and show that like one can have different opinions, and that doesn't diminish your experience and your deep love for something, and how something has kind of changed your life a little bit. You know, K-pop has all changed our lives in one way or another, and it gives us so much entertainment and joy and satisfaction, and so that's not going to be taken away from us if we disagree with each other. You're not going to wait unless you let it. But thank you, Nassim, I hear you. And actually, I would like to say, I've written it down in my notebook as well, if I had done a breakdown of the NCT version, there would be a comment section full of how they prefer this version to the Loona version, because it's just context and it's just where it's come from. And because I am subjectively biased towards the Loona cover, and because I have a camera and I've decided to make a YouTube channel, then I spotlight a Loona cover versus the NCT original. So that doesn't mean anything about the inherent value of either dance. Do you know that kind of way? What it does is it creates conversation, and conversation, when done respectfully, is always a good thing, do you know, because it makes you understand a little bit more about yourself and a little bit more about the world around you. So this was a whole video of just swimming and possibly drowning in the grey area, but I'm glad we did this because the grey area is not a boring place, it's just a very complex place, and the fact that you guys came with me on that, I'm forever grateful. And I'm gonna end it there because I literally think I could talk for another hour. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting and being part of this conversation. I think it's class. Like, you guys are so cool. My next video, I'm not sure what it's gonna be. I have my patrons who have given me suggestions. We're going to be using that as what we're gonna watch for a while. However, BTS Dynamite came out, and if the dance practice comes out soon, I will so be watching the dance practice, because little bits of the choreo that I saw in the MV were mostly hip-hop social dance moves that I can actually name, so that was really exciting, so I'd like to break that down. But anyway, well done, pat on the back. Hope you patted yourself on the back. Dude, come on, just do the thing. If you enjoyed this video, you can like, you can subscribe, you can ring the little bell that gives you all the notifications, you can share it with your friends, and you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Remember, you are who you choose to be, and you are part of something bigger and deeper than yourself. And Shippy says bye.